Well, the Nintendo Direct came and went, and a lot of people found themselves either very disappointed or really hyped. So what's going on, guys? It is the good old Mossy Jake back with another Nintendo video. A lot of people were talking about how Mario Kart World should have gotten DLC at this Nintendo Direct. A lot of people were talking about how the game is so bad to play nowadays, and I'm like, okay, and it's just terrible, and it's just, I'm going back to Mario Kart 8. I'm like, it reminds me of a time where games did not get DLC. It reminds me of a time when I was a boy, when games just released, and that was it. You know, I kind of find it so weird that it's just like expected from other companies to do DLC now or to do updates. It's just something they have to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, why can't we just get the game and just enjoy it? You know what I'm saying? Now, I understand that there are a lot of companies releasing games where they're not finished, where they'll release it to us and then we're like, wait, why isn't this finished? And then they have to do updates later, which is a whole problem in and of itself. You know, why are games being released unfinished just to be patched later? That's a terrible idea. You know, if you're going to give us an $80 game, let it be finished, right? Now, I think Nintendo is actually pretty good at giving us finished games without any like glitches or something like that. You know, the only time I can see them actually updating the game is when they want to give us added content. For instance, they gave us Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC, which was $20, and I don't know really if it should have been a $20 DLC. I think it could have been something that they just gave us at the end of the game. That's a whole other thing in and of itself, where they'll just give us a game and then they'll give us added content later. But was that added content something you thought of after? Or was it something that was already done and you could have just released it with the game? I digress, but that's a whole nother topic in and of itself. That is a problem. But, you know, there is a little bit of joy in getting a game and then like later down the line you're like, hey, there's more to this game. There's a little bit of a joy there. But when a game itself has like problems, has glitches, has, you know, problems with the online servers, well, we kind of expect them to patch it and stuff like that. And I don't know why they're being released like this, but we kind of expect them to patch it. So with Mario Kart World, a lot of people were talking about how it needed updates. It needed either more levels or it needed to fix the online. I don't know. If you think it's a terrible game, you know, that's your opinion. I respect that. I don't think Mario Kart World is that bad. I'm going to be real with y'all. It's the most I've played. Well, I don't know if it's the most I've played, but I've definitely been playing this Mario Kart game a lot more than I played Mario Kart 8. Maybe not as much as I did with Wii, but I find it more fun than 8, you know, like, because I really enjoy the Knockout Tour. A lot of people don't. A lot of people like the 3-lap races. I get that. You know, you have your opinion. That's fine. I get it. But I'm also like, are people over-exaggerating? You know, I do understand the whole, like, online stuff where you can't really choose if you want it to be a 3-lap race or not. Nintendo kind of has this way of them where they want you to play the game how they want you to play the game. They're very stubborn company. I love Nintendo, and a lot of people blame me for like glazing them, which I do not. I'm pointing this out right now, ladies and gentlemen. I do not like how Nintendo does this, how they're very stubborn, and how they're like, okay, you need to play the game this way. We want you to play the world. Like, you're driving to each track. You're playing throughout the world. They're trying to force that on us when when a lot of fans want to do 3-lap races. Now, once again, I love Knockout Tour, and that's like, you know, driving through the courses. I don't mind it, but I understand why people miss 3-lap races online. Now, not to say that you can't ever do 3-lap races online, or that, you know, you can't just, you know, if you're playing with your buddies on a couch or whatever, you can't just do 3-lap races. Of course you can. Of course you can. But it's obvious Nintendo is trying to force the world aspect on us when it's kind of empty, you know. And I don't know if Nintendo came out with this game with the idea that they were gonna do DLC later, probably because Mario Kart 8 had DLC later on. But it's also like, well, I could see Nintendo they just released it and thought it was done. But I don't know. It's just there are a lot of things that I can think of that I think, oh, Nintendo could have added this. They could have added this. They could have added this. So, and I'm not the only one who thinks that. So a lot of people were thinking, yeah, they just gave it to us with the idea that they were going to announce DLC later, which is a terrible thing to do from a company. Like, if we're paying $80 for something And then you're going to come out with a $20 DLC later to fix all these problems and to add things that were missing in the world aspects. You know, I, for one, do not like the actual open world because there's nothing to do in it. You know, you can track down all these like coins and P-switch missions, but it doesn't really give you anything, and it doesn't really keep track of like where you got them and how much there are and how much you have left to get. Like, so the collective hunt aspect of it is very bad in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. You know, I do not play this game for the world. I play the game for Knockout Tour, and that's literally it. So I could see Nintendo coming out here and being like, hey, here's we're fixing the world. Here's an actual update to the online. You actually can unlock new characters if you collect this stuff in the open world. I hope they do, because it really does need more of an update. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, it's just it's a whole topic in and of itself, and I know I keep rambling on about it, but with this direct that just came and went, right? That was an insane intro. With this direct that just came and went, a lot of people were expecting them to do something, to give us Mario Kart DLC. Now, it seemed a little bit early to me when I was hearing about this. I was like, it's a little early for Mario Kart DLC. I was shocked that they gave us Donkey Kong DLC, which told me that they already had that stuff ready to go, and that Nintendo's like, oh, we're going to charge $20 for this afterwards and get more money. So the fact that they did not show any DLC or any updates for Mario Kart World at this Nintendo Direct kind of shows me that Nintendo actually released the game, actually released Mario Kart World without the intent of releasing DLC, which is a good thing, which I actually respect them for that, because it's like I said, you have all these other companies coming out here saying like, oh, we're going to give them the game and then we're going to charge them more for DLC later. We're going to have that plan, you know? But the fact that Nintendo didn't come out with anything shows me that they were trying to be nice and tried to like actually like give us the full game in the $80. And I know that sounds, you know, weird. Like $80, oh, they're being nice. No, I'm not defending the $80 price tag. I'm just saying it kind of seemed like Nintendo actually released the game with the intent of that being the game. Now, they may have thought, oh, maybe later down the line we'll give DLC, and maybe they will. I'm still under the impression that they will eventually give us DLC for this game, because they'll realize, oh, like, people aren't really playing it as much anymore. You have all these races, and, you know, people want 3-lap races. There's not much to do in the open world. I think Nintendo will realize that and then give us DLC to fix all these things. But I'm kind of under the impression that maybe there wasn't any DLC ideas in the first place, or at least for now. A lot of people were very shocked to see that Mario Kart World is, well, just Mario Kart World, that there's nothing there yet. Could be Nintendo's just working on it, but I don't know. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys think. Do you think Nintendo is going to come out with a DLC for this game? Do you think this is just the game? Or do you think Nintendo's going to give us something? Do you think that was their plan all along? Because in my opinion, I think if they were going to give us DLC all along, if that was their plan, they would have announced it already. But who knows? Let me know down below in the comments what you guys think. And of course, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and we will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.